I think you're lying, Rasik. I think some of your men aren't fully licensed.
Bro, you're ruining it. The batteries are so dead, that's why it's so slow. Really? Because it only plays as fast as it's turning the tape, so the batteries are just dying.
What batteries do they use? 9 volts? These? Ah, some cross connections. Morning.
Can you put this on?
Yeah, yeah, anything on the cot you can pick up and put on.
Oh, okay. Can I take a look at your rucksack?
What's up?
This is a member of the Panama Defense Force at their 7th Infantry Brigade, nicknamed Macho de Monde. As you can see, for some reason, they decided to wear a lot of plain clothes. Now, in all the pictures we have of the 7th Infantry Brigade of the Panama Defense Force, they're just wearing plain clothes with either Alice or any other sorts of load-bearing equipment worn over their plain clothes.
I saw that in illustration, there's this guy who had an East German
Oh yeah,
pouches.
absolutely. If we had one of those available, we would have dressed him up with that. Once again, we're wearing a M81 BDU. Similar. Now this time we're in 1989 Panama instead of Grenada. I'm still using M16A1 because I'm a member of the 82nd Airborne, and as you can see, we have some different identification here. We have an American flag actually pinned on and not sewn on. This was a last-minute thing done by soldiers in Panama to kind of differentiate themselves from the Panama Defense Force, who actually, some of them would have been wearing M81 Woodland as well. And we also have an IR armband around us. This is also, again, help with identification, especially with night vision devices or with such like the C-130s that are flying up ahead. They would be able to identify friendly from enemy troops at nighttime.
So, the equipment you have is pretty much the same thing as the one in Grenada, except the helmet.
Oh, very, very similar. In fact, a lot of the stuff is exactly the same, minus, now, most people would be introduced to the M16A2. I am basing myself off of a specific reference photo in which an A1 with an M203 was in use, and also along with a bandolier. However, I am wearing a different belt. I have the plastic buckles instead of the metal ones. And other than that, most of the stuff is going to be pretty much identical to what would have been worn in Grenada.
Can I take a look at the backside of your equipment? So I have a question with the tape. I saw there's a tape over here.
Yeah.
What is that?
So this is just going to be basic electrical tape. It's useful to have it on your kit if you need to make quick repairs. In fact, a lot of the veterans we talked to actually mentioned recalling putting this here in this exact spot. These carriers are meant for grenades. However, as you can see, it fits electrical tape and carabiners for gloves perfectly.
When was this plastic buckle introduced?
Now, the plastic buckle should have been introduced roughly around 1983, along with the invasion of Grenada. And I believe there might be some evidence of these in use in Grenada. However, you start to see them a little bit more commonly used later in the 80s. That being said, both the metal clasp that you saw in Grenada as well as the plastic buckle from Panama, both of them would have been worn.
Alright, so what gear you're equipped with?
So this is A Squadron for Delta Force during the invasion of Panama. The Modelo prison breakout. It was an American journalist was captured by Noriega for being a spy. So we sent in Delta Force to break him out. And this kid is pretty famous for Larry Vickers, because Larry Vickers is a pretty well-known gun tuber. And he's an ex-Delta Force operator, and he took part of that operation. He recounted a lot of things, the gear he carried, the weapons he carried, so on and so forth. And yeah, I like it because it's based. My favorite kid, honestly.
As for I can tell that the pocket is in the arm.
Oh yeah, so a lot of Delta Force and Special Forces teams would just modify their gear and their uniforms. So this would be typically called raid mod. this was like an old modification you've probably seen on like MACV SOC during the Vietnam War. So it's not an old, it's nothing new. They realized it was kind of preferable. Having pockets on the arms to put stuff in like pens, extra gear, maps, and so on and so forth. And Delta Force had a little bit different kit, obviously, something a little familiar. Alice underneath the body armor. Both of the first ones that had actual plate carriers with steel plates. No ceramics at the time, but better than nothing.
So these are a civilian plate carrier?
Yeah, actually they were civilian plate carriers. They're made by multiple companies. American Body Armor, Point Blank, Safariland. So a lot of these civilian companies would create these carriers specifically for these special forces teams. So I got much to say about it.
So as for the, well, your boots, it's jungle boots.
Yeah, jungle boots are still used by the grunts of 7th ID. Special forces used them. Sometimes you see black boots, but it's whatever you can get, honestly.
So is your kit based off Larry Vickers?
No. On my table over there, there's a lot of people over there now, but there's a famous reference photos of A Squadron right after the operation, so they took a picture all in a hangar together. But yeah, I kind of based off this kit a bunch of reference photos that I saw online. Try to do my research as much as possible. A lot of the information is kind of a little bit gate kept, but I don't know why. But I don't know, bro. I just work here.
Nice equipment you got here. Pretty
I try.
unusual.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing your equipment.
No, of course, bro. Don't.
Nice equipment you got here.
It's fine.
Thank you.